Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 21. It's called The Return of the Archons. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. So they're at a weird planet. Sulu and some red shirt dude are down there. Sulu gets touched with a stick, makes him go all weird, acting all mind controlled and like happy and shiny happy people kind of thing. So Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and some other red shirts go down. For some reason, they all dress like Amish people on this planet. And
They're blending in.
no, when I said for some reason, I didn't mean the crew.
Oh, right.
I meant the people on the planet dress like this. Right. I know why they're dressing like
I
it.
mean, I will defend that. I think it's established within the plot why they're dressed like that.
Okay. I don't think it needed to be that though.
I mean, the point is this society is stagnant and hasn't evolved in 600 years, so their clothing and the way they look is still, old.
Oh yeah,
That's what it's representative of.
yeah, but why is it stuff that's based on Earth? Like why?
Societies develop at a similar trajectory.
Bullshit. They could have went one step further and had it be something completely different that we'd never seen on Earth. It could have been.
They could have done, but this is the easiest way to sell old to an audience.
All right. They go down, and it's like a sort of brainwashed society, kind of almost fascist style, where everyone's kind of. Actually, I was actually joking to myself that it was basically the purge at one point, because the clock hits a time and everyone starts freaking out and doing crazy things, and then takes the time the next day and they all go back to being normal. So it conjures up some thoughts of that. But yeah, so there's a couple of people who resist it, and so Kirk and Spock need to get to the bottom of it. And one thing leads to another, and we find out it's actually not a person that's controlling all this; it's a computer. And this is the computer's idea of a perfectly kind of structured society where everything's
Yeah.
in line.
That section of the episode, it felt really Wizard of Oz to me. The whole thing, the way there was the
Yeah,
projection and then they break down the wall.
man behind the curtain. Yeah, just in
Yeah,
this case, it's a computer behind the curtain.
yeah. They Star Trek it up, obviously. But
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I'm kind of mixed on it.
yeah, me too. It's like I like the ideas, but I feel ultimately it's maybe a little bit boring.
Yeah, that's kind of where I think the idea is fine. I like the idea that a computer, like from thousands of years ago, because they meant there's a couple of hints. There's one random bit of technology that seems like, oh, these people shouldn't have this. This is far more advanced than anything they have.
Hmm.
Like that idea is kind of cool. The idea a computer evolved and thing, but I think it just wasn't developed enough. Like it got to the end and like Kirk just kind of easily talks it out of it and like confuses it into like going against its own directive because it realizes
Yeah,
it's not living up to what it thinks it's supposed to be doing, and it felt too easy. And as you say, I think Joe, I think it is. I think that the episode never really develops in terms of what's happening. Almost all once they get down to the planet, and it's like
it's
Kirk
kind
and
of
crew.
just wandering around, seeing what's happened is like 10 minutes.
Well, not even the wandering around. I'm thinking more once they like get to the hotel with the guy who turns out to be like against. Every scene feels like it's them just talking about the fact that the others are all like being mind controlled and like they're hiding in the hotel and then they're hiding in the prison cell and they're hiding from others there and it's like it just feels like they're constantly in a room.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I
I
don't
mean
know. It's weird.
it just doesn't really do anything, does it?
Yeah.
It just goes right. Here's the idea. Now let's kill 30 minutes. Okay, that'll do. Okay, here's the ending.
Yes. I feel like it was kind of just buying time. A lot of it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really do much with because basically once the computer gets beat, everyone just kind of goes back to the way they're supposed to be. They never really play with the idea that McCoy's like one of the brainwashed, like because he gets brainwashed and like at one point he kind of. In fact, probably my favorite shot of the entire episode is when Kirk and Spock are pretending they were brainwashed. And they're all like huddling and having a secret conversation, and you see McCoy just step up behind them, and he's like between two of them, and he walks towards the
Yeah.
group. Because he looked kind of creepy there, but that was the closest I ever felt it got to actually using it and doing something with it. Where
Yeah, McCoy properly turning on them and like rather than just shouting a few things,
yeah,
like him probably working against them would have been interesting.
yeah, I don't know. For some reason, everything about it feels kind of half baked.
It's much like the society. It kind of feels stagnant, where it presents the idea and then, right, okay, let's just wait here.
Yeah, I think it almost sums it up to me because these hooded figures that are like the soldiers of the computer, like they're the sort of the
Yeah,
police force that are enforcing all this. They like at one point, like at the start of the episode, they sort of turn Sulu by touching them with their magic stick thing. And I don't think anything accents the problems with this episode more than when Spock gets a hold of the stick and goes, that's strange. It's just a hollow tube. I'm like, yeah, that's the
yeah,
episode. That's it. You think there's more going on, and that's just a hollow tube.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's all disappointing in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think ultimately though, I think the main problem with it is it doesn't have much momentum or urgency going through it. It does kind of feel like our main cast are just kind of because they go to this room and they ask some questions, with the guy and he's kind of dodging them and whatever. Eventually the villains show up and they think they've got away and then they all get taken and go to the prison, and then there's a lot of standing around in that prison cell,
There
debating on
is,
what to do.
yeah, and
Uh,
it's kind of the same points on a loop.
It is, yeah. It feels like it's just been very repetitious. And again, I'm all for like people in a room just trying to figure out how to get out. Like that can be a lot of fun, but it never really feels like there is that sense of momentum where they're in danger. Like they try and do it a little bit because they mention the ship's under attack, like the defenses of the planet are firing at
Yeah,
the
but we
ship.
don't really see any of it,
We,
so it
we,
doesn't.
yeah,
It's not effective, is it?
we hear Scotty mention it a couple of times when he's on the communicator with them, but it never really feels it was an actual threat.
Yeah.
And as a result, like that feels like a wash. The stuff down the planet's not that interesting. And even when they get to the machine, I'll be honest, that scene where Kirk kind of tricks the machine into thinking and sort of second guessing itself goes on a little bit too long. Like there's a lot of them just standing there talking to it.
Yeah, that should be like a fantastic, like really compelling scene. But I feel like it's hampered a little bit by the fact that we've taken so long to get to it without anything really happening that it feels like, okay, you just want it to be resolved now. You just want him to fix it.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it doesn't feel like it explores the idea of a machine building like a society, a hive mind, and controlling it. It never really feels like it does enough with that to really make the debate at the end interesting.
No, it doesn't.
Because at one point they mention, oh, you're like a cog in the machine, or you're just one part of the whole system. But other than that, there's no real like playful ideas with like how would a machine treat the humans? Like if it's truly just treating them like numbers, wouldn't some of them be expendable? Wouldn't some of them be like this? Or like I feel like it doesn't really offer any kind of interesting ideas. And because it doesn't do that, when it gets to the point where Kirk's debating with it, it's just kind of like, well, it's not really made a point to like prove that it was doing anything right.
Yeah,
Or,
it's a very one-sided debate, isn't it? It's like
yeah.
Kirk's like this is wrong, and the computer never really gets to argue why, other than just because.
I mean, I guess the closest to an actual debate, I guess, 'cause if we're using it as an analogy for like fascism or dictatorship or that kind of thing, like the whole idea is here that the society is without crime, it is without that kind of thing. It's the most peaceful ever,
Yeah,
which is why I was thinking of the Purge because they have this one thing for the festival they call
yeah,
it where they go nuts and they're just like a bunch of raving maniacs. And it was the end of the episode when they got back up in the ship, and Kirk's like, "Yeah, people on Earth dreamed of this, but luckily we never got it." And I'm like, okay, right, I can almost see the message you're trying to like say there, like true control, true discipline to that extent means there's no freedom, and as a result, like, what's the point?
yeah. Life is struggle.
Yeah. So no, so I get what it's doing, but it just doesn't do it that well.
Yeah, that is ultimately the problem. It's like it's really interesting ideas. I mean, I think Czech will probably tackle it again down the line in a
I
better
have no
way.
doubt. I probably in the original series, if not at least 3 or 4 times in Next Gen, at least a couple of
Yeah,
times in
yeah.
Deep Space Nine.
That's what I mean. Already we've had multiple topics revisited, and it seems inevitable for this one to be revisited, and I feel like it can be done better.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's just a simple case of whoever wrote the episode wasn't as good a writer as some of the others, but it felt like
Yeah.
yeah, lack of urgency, lack of momentum in the plot, and it just all the ideas felt pretty thin. The core ideas were fine, but they just didn't feel like explored well enough.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, especially and I think the other thing that accents the way the way it played out and how kind of thin it feels is at the end after they beat the computer. Kirk just says to whoever it is on the bridge, I think Scotty at the time. He's like, ready to beam us up. Yeah, the people here, they can deal with this now. It's their mess to clean up, and then then they leave. It almost doesn't feel like there was any real help to give them or anything to impart in terms of teachings or anything.
Yeah, he just goes, "Hey, I get a new job."
Yeah, he cracks a joke about, you should probably start looking for a new job. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, cheers, you just ruined his life. And then it's like, I mean, technically you freed him, but he probably doesn't feel that way right now.
Yeah. So it's a rough one.
Yeah, it is.
All right, well, not much more to say in this one. It's a pretty weak episode. Not much to go in depth with. I will say actually just one final point about the computer is it was a really stupid, shitty looking computer, and obviously it's the 60s, and I don't mean in the sense that I expect it to be like something you'd see in a modern movie. I just mean the design of it felt very random to me. Like it had like these different sections where they'd have some blinking lights, and there was one section that had a light. It had two lights in this one section. So imagine a square section, right?
Yeah.
And each section was coloured, right? So here's the purple section. There was two blinking lights. One was like a third of the way in, and like just a nudge down from the top, and then the other one was just randomly kind of off centre in the middle. And that's all was in this block. Was just these two blinking lights that had nothing near them, no sense of organisation or like. It just felt so. It really felt like the production designer just went, or the prop designer, whoever was in charge of this, kind of went, just throw some blinking lights and land them places.
I mean, the only way I could, if I was to try and defend it, obviously this computer was actually created, and it was maybe the idea that life is supposed to be random, so they kind of just went, it wasn't designed, at least aesthetically, it was supposed to be a bit more random. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm reaching.
You are reaching. Which is kind of why just another reason why that whole last conversation, that whole debate between Kirk and the computer is just, it feels flat. It legitimately feels. I mean, obviously, so much on like a show like this is Kirk or in present day. If you make a show and you have something like this, it's the actor talking to a green screen instead of, in this case, it's him talking to this prop.
Box, yeah.
But like it really felt it because it just didn't feel like a real thing. It felt like
definitely
a box with some blinking lights on it. So, so rough episode. But you can let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. We should probably mention about the whole thing with the name. Like the idea that there was other starships that came by at some point and took the computer took people from it, and they called these people the Archons, and this was like the prophecy that there'll be more.
Yeah.
And it was just more Starfleet. So. Yeah,
I guess that the thing is, it was never anything but what it presented it could be. So it's just not that interesting because that was the first thing they speculated.
Yeah. Again, interesting idea, but just the way it's told doesn't.
Yeah, they don't do anything with it again.
No mystery, no sense of like, what's an Archon? It's just immediately, you must be Archons because you came from the sky, and it's like. Okay, and I think the next scene is someone actually explains it, and Kirk goes, right, so there was another starship, it was officers, and you're like, alright.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was just plainly telling us things.
yeah, it was just kind of weak storytelling, wasn't it? It's just exposition dumps.
Yeah, exposition dumps and killing time. What a really bad combination. So let us know what you thought of this episode of Star Trek in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. You can help us out, of course, by doing that. But you can also help us out by going over to patreon.com/MildFuzzTV and seeing some of the bonuses you can get over there if you want to help support the channel and everything we do. One of them, of course, is that these already cancelled episodes of Star Trek go up a week early on Patreon. So if you're watching this on the YouTubes, the next episode's already up on Patreon. So and that's $1 that costs a month to get early access to these. So go over and check it out. If not, that's cool too. You can get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen. For everyday ramblings, but that is us. So thanks once again for watching. We'll see you next time.